I'm Alan Robarge, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Welcome to the new Love Addiction, where we're not talking about addiction. We're talking about attachment injuries and healing from attachment trauma. And let's talk about emotional unavailability and non-greeting. So that's the opposite of greeting, to greet someone, to say hello, to acknowledge another person. Usually this happens when we are coming and going. So if you arrive into a new space, you enter a room, or someone else arrives into a new space and enters the room, there is a socially acceptable, understandable moment of acknowledging the other person's existence, acknowledging that they have entered the room to say hello. So in addition to this obviously being, having some component of a social function and built into the social norms, we also do this because we want to, because it is we look forward to seeing the person that we're in relationship with. If you have scheduled lunch with someone, and let's say it's an old friend that you have not seen for some time, and you arrive at the restaurant a bit early and you're waiting at the table, and your friend arrives and you can see your friend walking through the restaurant towards you, you immediately light up, you smile, you anticipate, the next 5 seconds as the person's walking toward you. And then when they arrive, there is a greeting, there is a completion, there is a sense of connection to acknowledge each other. And when we do this, it comforts our nervous system. It helps us feel connected. It helps us affirm that we are in relationship. So, if we want to practice emotional unavailability, or if we are with a person who errs on the side of being a bit more avoidant, a bit more guarded with how they reveal their emotional connection with you, how they reveal making themselves available to the relationship, they will deny a greeting. They will create a non-greeting, and you are going to experience this as being rejected and being ignored. So the same scenario, the example that I gave, imagine, the friend arrives, but instead of greeting you with a smile, instead of greeting you with outstretched arms, instead of greeting you, facing you directly and, saying, hello, nice to see you, I'm so looking forward to our lunch today. Let's imagine instead this friend is arriving, rummaging around in her purse or rummaging around in his backpack and not actually paying attention to you, but looking at the items in the backpack, and when arrives needs to check the text message and immediately looks at the menu, immediately looks around for the waiter because he or she wants to order a drink, and there is a lack of acknowledgement. There's a lack of acknowledging the other person. Now, understandably, people are not always able to deliver the most successful greeting. Sometimes you're rummaging around in your backpack or rummaging around in your purse because you think you forgot your medication, or there's some important Post-it note that you failed to look at earlier. And so that's totally understandable. What it would require is that if you miss the opportunity for the greeting, that you are sensitive enough that you'd want to create repair in the next 3 minutes following, in the next 5 minutes following, that once you got your drink from the waiter, once you put your bag down on the floor, you're able to exhale, and a rather, a skillful person, a person who is more sensitive, a person who is aware, would actually then exhale, see the friend, and say, oh my gosh, I just realized that I didn't even say hello. I didn't even see you when I came in. I just barreled in, plopped down. I'm all frazzled. I'm so sorry. I'm not even really paying attention. Hey, it's good to see you. It's nice to see you. So even if you miss the moment, even if you are not able to always, deliver the most conscious or the most invested greeting, you can create some repair. You can backpedal a bit and you can recreate or moving forward, offer greeting in that moment. I'm bringing this up, I'm talking about this because when we look at over a period of time, we're looking at long-term relating, we're looking at people who are in relationship, and we get in this dance of closeness and separation and closeness and separation. And if there is insecure attachment, if there is dysfunctional relating, if there are other distractions going on, be it an addiction, a mental illness, a workaholism, whatever is pulling and creating stress in the relationship and pulling the partners away from each other, and the closeness becomes too uncomfortable, and if a person has an attachment style that is a bit more avoidant, someone who says they need space, someone who needs to take breaks, someone who really needs to control the proximity of how close we're getting because it will just feel too smothering, it will feel too urgent, it will feel too vulnerable, it'll be too intense, so we need to take a break here and let's create distance. Now, if there's tension in the relationship and actually it's a not going well, the relationship is, there's struggle and there's stress in the relationship, and the partner who's a bit more avoidant will need to continue to engage certain behaviors that are going to buy him or her some space and time, and to make sure that we don't get too close, because getting too close becomes prickly and becomes scary, and so therefore we have to keep practicing ways to minimize or create some obstacles to joining. One way that people do this is that they are very controlling about their greeting, and they offer a non-greeting, and it's going to be experienced as the partner who would like a greeting, as the partner who prefers to have a bit more of an immediate interaction, the same way that it's completely socially acceptable and normal that when you go to any space, I go to Starbucks, I go to the coffee shop, and people know me there, and even if they don't know me there is a social norm that you look up from what you're doing and you say, hello, how are you? And if it's a situation at a coffee shop, then they're going to say, may I help you? So there's an engagement. Now, of course, in that scenario, people are paid to do that, but that's not only why they're doing it. They're also doing it because as human beings, that's how we interact. We acknowledge each other. So if you're in a relationship where there's distress and tension and it's not going well and it's a dysfunctional relationship and both people are jockeying to try to get their needs met and try to get closeness or try to get separation, if the partner is a bit more avoidant, he or she might employ and think that it is perfectly acceptable to disengage from a greeting. So they come home, and let's say you're already home, and they ignore you. They do not look at you. They do not walk across the room to greet you. They do not touch you. They do not smile. Even if they want to let you know clearly, if it's passive aggressive and they're actually trying to be mean or give an air of negativity, they might even come home and appear frustrated and pissed off and moody. So not only are you getting the non-physical cues, the non-verbal cues, the non-relational behavioral cues, they're also projecting this kind of cloud of negativity around them, which says, leave me alone. And this can happen in the first nanosecond, the first second, the first 5 seconds that this person walks into the room. Well, what is that doing to the quality of relationship? What's that doing to help build trust and safety, to help both people feel connected? It's not doing very much. It's doing the opposite. It will set off a sense of alarm and concern in the partner who is being ignored. And that partner, although we will reduce it down and say, well, it's just a greeting, it's just a little simple greeting. Why is that such a big deal? Because if this happens on Monday 2 times, and this happens 3 times on Tuesday, and this happens 2 times on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and 1 month and 2 months and 2 years and 5 years and 10. This is how people are relating. They are ignoring each other, and it is hurtful. So to raise consciousness, to bring your awareness that you can greatly improve your relationship if you do something as simple as saying hello, something as simple as creating a greeting. It is not taxing, it is not tiring. There are some people who defend themselves that they think to arrive home that they are so wildly exhausted and that the world has placed such an incredible demand on their being as a human being, and that to raise the corners of their mouth in a smile, to look up and nod to the person they love or in relationship with, and to take the extra 6 to 10 steps to walk into the kitchen and pat your partner on the back and say, good afternoon, I'm glad I'm home. There is a defensiveness that for certain people who are avoidantly attached, who are trying to justify this behavior, that they will say, well, they just need some downtime. I need some downtime. If I come home, I just don't want to be bombarded, with questions, and I don't want to be bombarded with you, immediately coming to me. My response to that is, well, then don't be in a relationship. That's the point of a relationship. The point of a relationship is relating. And if you are so wildly exhausted that you cannot muster up the same amount of cordial kindness that we give to a stranger at a coffee shop, the same kind of cordial kindness that if you're walking on the sidewalk and you very quickly almost run into someone, you immediately smile and say, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. There's a necessity to interact. That's what relating is. That's what relationship is. And many of us are challenged to learn new skills. And maybe this is a skill that you need to learn. To very consciously say, you can greatly impact and improve the quality of your relating if you are mindful and sensitive to arriving in the front door, arriving into the room, arriving home with a genuine sense, an authentic sense that you do want to connect with your partner. Now, if you are tired, legitimately that understands. If you do have the weight of the world on your shoulders, legitimately I understand. You might even be depressed. You have clinical depression, and mustering up the energy to offer something back in exchange still might be challenging. What I offer you, what I share with you about that, we're only talking 10 seconds. It becomes crazy making when an avoidant, emotionally unavailable partner tries to justify ignoring their partner who is requesting some kind of greeting, and to say, well, I'm just too incredibly tired, I just don't have that extra energy to offer. We're only talking 10 seconds, we're talking 30 seconds. What you need to do is you arrive with intention. And you don't lead with your depression. You don't lead with your, anger. You don't lead with your resentment at your partner. You don't lead with feeling the fear of, being vulnerable with your partner. You lead with a general sense of a willingness to be kind. And what you need to do is smile and offer some presence. So what that means, back to the example of the restaurant and a friend arrives with a backpack and is rooting, you put the backpack down, you put the briefcase down, you don't go to the refrigerator and rummage through the refrigerator to look for a snack. You take a pause. So there's going to be some positive affect on your face. Your eyes light up, you smile a little bit, you nod. There's going to be a need for proximity, a need for closeness. You make an intention to walk towards the person. You don't make it look like you're walking to the computer. You don't make it look like you're just walking to the refrigerator. You're actually walking towards your partner. Why? Because it's your partner. Because this is what you signed up for. This is relationship. And if you do not have the basic skills to say hello and greet your partner, then perhaps you must reconsider, why are you in relationship at all? Because that is ultimately very stingy. That is very self-absorbed. And it is cruel. It is hurtful to ignore a person daily and regularly. Now, the partner who wants connection will oftentimes have been denied connection for so long that he or she will work really hard and try to entice the partner who's emotionally disconnected or emotionally unavailable, try to entice the partner to engage. And that partner, the partner that wants some more connection, might not be very skilled. They might be totally burned out, totally frustrated, passive aggressive, angry that they have to ask for connection anyway, angry that they're trying to get their emotional needs met on a minimal basis. Walking into the room and saying hello for 10 to 30 seconds, that is minimal relating. And the goal is to bump it up and to have a more meaningful, heartfelt, open vulnerability. So this is just the admission. This is the price of admission. But if you want to be in a relationship, we're trying to have emotional exchange. So it is very possible that the emotionally avoidant person feels very cautious towards the partner who wants more connection, because that partner too has developed some behaviors, and it can behave in ways that are not as skilled or not as neutral, and that it could come across as needy and demanding and smothering. And perhaps that's why certain partners, when they come home, will say, well, I just need 10 minutes, I need 15 minutes, I need a half hour, let me take a shower, let me answer my email before we connect. Because they're going to be experiencing the partner that wants connection as intrusive. And that's a slippery thing, because is the partner really intrusive, or is the unavailable partner projecting and being very highly critical and assuming that that partner is going to be intrusive? And it goes both ways. It's very possible that the partner who is working overtime, has these strategies to try to connect, when they perceive that the partner is rejecting, when they perceive that the partner is unavailable and not offering connection, Again, that's a very slippery place. Is that actually happening? Or is he or she projecting that onto their partner and immediately assuming, see, denied again, I'm denied again. So I know it's complicated. I know once this dynamic gets set into place, everyone's cautious, everyone's walking on pins and needles, everyone's disappointed, and the end result is emotional needs are not getting met. Let's make this simple. We might not solve the reoccurring tension of that bigger dynamic, but we can come back to saying, let's choose to greet each other with kindness and choose to greet each other with presence. And I'm going to repeat and break it down into the very easy, simple steps to follow. You arrive with some sense of appreciation and joy to enter the room. You actually want to see your partner. You actually want to say hello. And you enter the room leading from that place. You don't look grumpy. You don't look irritated. You don't look like a jerk. You don't look distracted. You walk in and smile, and you create proximity. You create some closeness. And so you physically walk over to the person. You can touch his or her hand. You can touch his or her back. You can acknowledge reality if what's happening, the person is preparing dinner, and then you just say, oh, I see you're making dinner. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much. How are you, honey? And you kiss the person on the forehead. You give them a hug, and it takes 10 seconds. It takes 30 seconds. And if the other person wants to engage, you do not shut him or her down. You take another 30 seconds to breathe. You have 30 seconds. Everybody has 30 seconds. You're not on fire. This is not on, dire. Assuming you're not catatonically depressed, that you could muster up another 30 seconds to at least let the person, it's like they're playing volleyball and they just served you the volleyball. So your job is to be a kind, supportive partner, is that when that partner says, oh, it's so good to see you. Guess what happened? My mom called. I talked to my mom today and she was telling me, it's like you're giving, it's an invitation to receive a volleyball. You catch it. You don't ignore it. You don't push it on the ground. You catch it and you stand there for 30 seconds long enough to nod. You nod like, yes, I hear. Oh, your mom called. And then you cordially, with kindness, you grab your partner's hand and you smile and you say, I want to hear more about this in a couple minutes. I'm going to go change. Let me get a shower. And I'm looking forward to having dinner. And if you can do that in that moment with presence and a sense of sincerity, your partner is able to hold it. And if your partner is not able to hold it, then that's the work that your partner has to do. If you're if you're a bit more pushing for emotional connection and you are unable to receive the invitation or receive the request, not so much an invitation, but to receive the request when the partner says, it's nice to see you. Yes, I hear that your mom just called. Let me run upstairs and change my clothes and I'll be down in, let's say 30, 40 minutes and you can tell me then. So good to, I'm looking forward to hearing what your mom said. There's a positiveness, you put a positive spin on it. If you're the type of partner who struggles with the request to put it on hold, well, then that's your healing work. That's what you have to work on. As much as we want the emotionally avoidant person to step up his or her game, to be able to engage a bit more, that is the challenge, then your challenge also is to be able to hear the requests, and the word here is reasonable. They need to be reasonable requests. So the emotionally unavailable or a more avoidant person will need to check in, engage, are the requests reasonable? And assuming they are, then if you are a bit more of an anxiously attached person where you struggle to not have the separation and you feel an urgency to talk right away, we got to connect right away. Let's go sit on the couch and have a glass of wine. Let's not even make dinner. Let's just sit here on the couch and totally blah, 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 blah all night. Well, your challenge, your healing work might need to be able to learn how to accept that request and take care of yourself. Take care of dinner, affirm yourself, validate yourself. Something else that says, you're not being rejected, you're not being ignored, you're making that story up. All that is happening is your partner went upstairs to take a shower. All that is happening is your partner is answering email right now. So if you cannot stand that 40 minutes of the separation because you're not getting your attachment needs attended to when you want right now, there's that urgency, you can't take a shower, you can't look at your email, you got to connect to me. Well, that's your healing work. That's something you need to work on with yourself as well. So everybody has homework. And the goal is to bump up through intentional kindness, intentional relating. We want to be conscious. We need to bump up the frequency of connecting with each other. And the example I'm using is with the greeting. Let's just start with the greeting. Please say hello to each other. Please smile at each other. Please pat each other on the back. And this also, I've been using example of the greeting of saying hello. This includes saying goodbye. This includes when you leave. You don't just exit the house and get in the car and drive away, and then 20 minutes later your partner goes, is talking to the living room and realize you're not even there. That's not helpful to our attachment system. That's not helpful to how we relate. It is helpful instead to say, honey, I'm running to the store and I'm gonna be out for a while. Okay, honey, thanks. See you later. Goodbye. We need to communicate. And if you're in a relationship where you're withholding communication, you're not feeding your relationship. You're not comforting each other's attachment system and making each other feel safe, and where you're nurturing and affirming that you want to be in a relationship. Every time you say hello, every time you say goodbye, every time you greet each other, you're affirming, hey, you're my partner. Am I your partner? You're my partner. We're partners. Hey, we're partners. Are you safe? I'm safe. Are you feeling safe? I'm feeling safe. Okay, good. I'm going to go to the store. I need to go buy some milk. I'll be right back. If we do not have these multiple moments of checking in, like eye contact, are you here for me? I'm here for you. Are you here for me? Hey, we're here for each other. That's really nice. Okay, see you later. This comforts us and helps us feel safe in relationship. And if we do not have this skill, if you don't know how to do this, or maybe you've never had this in your life, you didn't have this, maybe it's part of your family history, maybe it's part of your culture, your family culture, that you all ignore each other. You're a whole group of people who ignore each other. And we could say, well, maybe it's working for, the 25 members or however many members in that. Maybe it's working for everybody. But for a bigger perspective of the larger population, most of us need a bit more of a regular frequency of greeting and acknowledgement and validation. And that validation is through eye contact, through touching, through proximity, through making an effort to engage and move towards someone. So I hope that this was helpful. Please practice this. It could potentially improve and help break down the gridlock or that kind of push-pull relating that ends up happening when we are denying each other connection. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you would like to see other videos just like this one. Also, if you want to discuss this idea as well as other ideas related to relationships and the healing of attachment trauma, there is a Facebook group called The New Love Addiction, and you can join that group. And then finally, if you would like to learn about me, please do at my website, alanrobarge.com. And I will see you next time. Thank you.